When you go to court and you know that you have to stand trial or deal with any kind of infraction or infringement that you've dealt with or been part of, how do you react? Or are you going to act like Bryan Slade?
I'm Duncan MacLeod of the clan MacLeod, born 400 years ago in the... Well, no, not really. That was a TV show called Highlander. So, just listen to Rockin' at the Movies with me, Adrian Paul, and Shane comley-White, and you'll learn some interesting facts.
Hello and welcome everybody, my name is Shane comley-White, and today we are going to be breaking down a little bit of the main villain in episode 7, which is called Bad Day at Building A in Highlander, the first season. So this one isn't going to be as long as all the others. We're not going to go into too much detail because it's kind of, it's not an Immortal that we are breaking down. It's just basically a typical bad guy. And this gentleman that we are going to be talking about is Bryan Slade. Now, he is a big-time criminal in this area, in this country where they live at the moment, in the US. So Bryan Slade is in court at the moment, and he's waiting for sentencing. But he doesn't want this to actually happen. He doesn't want his name to be dragged down through the mud and given a criminal record and actually being taken to jail. So he's created this elaborate plan to hold the court hostage and anyone that's involved in it as well, or well, that is there at the time, they just collateral damage. So he's actually going to be holding them hostage to get his way and to try force his attorney, Myron Klein, to actually appeal whatever judgment that was going to be paid or made. But this wasn't going to happen. Slade decided he's not even going to wait for that moment. The lawyer was going to do it. The attorney was going to appeal whatever the judgment or the sentencing could be. But Slade's like, no ways, that's it. I'm sorry, I'm not dealing with this and I'm not going to go to jail. The typical egotistical kind of vibe and the psycho kind of element when it comes to a criminal. So ultimately he has a group of people that are strategically placed within the court itself. Some of them are pretending to be janitors. Some of them are just around and painters or whatever else it might be. And they are there waiting for the one moment that Slade gives a little bit of a signal and they're going to lock up the court and hold it hostage so he gets away scot-free. So here's my question to you. Do you really think that you're going to be able to hold a court hostage and really get away? Do you really think that no one is going to try hunt you down? No one's going to try catch you again and add more charges onto your original crime, your original sentence? Do you really think that that's going to go down well? Or what? Are they so delusional that they think that this is actually the way to go and this is the only way that it will work? Or are they just running scared? Are they just fearing for their life and fearing for the fact they're going to be stuck in a cage for however long the sentence might be? It might even be for life, you never know. So during this whole altercation, we actually see Slade. He's got a couple of his goons, his crew that he's got. And one of the guys' name is Kirby. And Kirby is one of the people that Duncan stabs with this fantastic makeshift blade that he's got, almost like a fencing sword. Nice, big, thin, well, nice long thin piece of steel with a very sharp tip, and like I mentioned in the previous video, it's what they use to actually pick up litter on the floor and put into a bag. So you walk around, you're stabbing this litter, and it works well for what you need it for. And he picks it up and he starts using that. So while he stabs Kirby, it causes one of the other guys, whose name is Mancuso, to shoot Schmidt. So from one action, another reaction happens and another person dies because of, not by Duncan's hand, but because of the cause and effect of what Duncan did by stabbing the other guy. And this is where Duncan then has to then stab Mancuso because he's now shooting with the semi-automatic gun and it's riddling the place with bullets. And obviously Duncan doesn't want this to happen, so he then goes and stabs him as well. So in one foul swoop, there's going to be what? Kirby, Mancuso, Schmidt, all taken out immediately by Duncan MacLeod in a very stealthy and fantastic way. But on top of that, Duncan then knocks out another guy named Paulie. And Paulie is the only person who really survives this whole altercation down at the end. And he's the one that gets arrested. So what's interesting is Slade starts to hear all of this gunfire and not knowing what's going on because now he's in the courtroom. All of this battle, if you want to call it the battle, is actually happening in the corridors and all the other offices in the actual courthouse itself. So Slade becomes a little bit psycho, and he's freaking out. So he actually takes Tessa hostage and threatens to kill her, and thinking that Mancuso was losing his mind under all the pressure. And so so Slade actually takes Tessa, which actually elevates Duncan's need to fight harder. But also Richie tries to stand up and defend and protect Tessa, which obviously doesn't work out too well because Richie's still a young kid and Slade just overpowers him verbally and emotionally and with fear and everything else that goes with it. And obviously Tessa is quite brave. She stands up for herself. She deals with everything that needs to happen, and she handles her situation very, very well, knowing that something is happening and people are going to come and save them. What's quite interesting is the altercation actually between Slade and Duncan at that particular moment. And so Duncan is now in the courtroom, and he's actually dealing with Slade face to face. And there's a machine gun on one end of the room, and there's also the skewer that Duncan has. And Duncan kind of challenges him because Duncan knows nothing can really happen to him. He'll get shot, he'll die, he'll wake up again. But he challenges Slade and to see who can get the weapon of their choice faster than the other. Slade, being a very macho, kind of egotistical kind of person, he accepted the challenge, and he didn't win. He didn't get to the gun fast enough, and ultimately Duncan ended him, took his life, and that was his sentence. He was sentenced to death by Duncan's hand. So here's a little bit of trivia which you might not know. The character or the actor who played Slade, his name is Andrew Divoff. He went on to another episode within the Highlander series, and he played an Immortal, which is quite interesting because remember they've done this before with a couple of the other actors where they play one role and then down the line they play another role. And if you do not watch them in sequence and binge watch them, you might not recognize the different characters, but you will now. I'm going to blast that one for you. And the Immortal that he plays is Gabriel Larker from the episode Littleton Guard, which we'll touch on at a later. The other interesting part is the first person who got stabbed by Duncan, his name is Kirby. He gets to play a very interesting horror character in a movie called Freddy vs. Jason. Go have a look and see if you can actually see him there. Just so you know, he plays Jason. And the other henchman of Slade, Mancuso, he plays another character in another episode down the line where he played Peter Martin in an episode called Blackmail. Thank you so much for spending a little bit more time with me to delve into the baddies from this episode. I really enjoyed breaking down a little bit of that and giving you a little bit of trivia when it comes to the different characters and actors who played in the series itself. And I hope that you're going to keep watching because we are going to obviously be touching on the different characters from various different or new episodes that are coming up. And please don't forget, we are going to be launching a couple of the interviews that I've got coming up, and you are definitely going to be enjoying these interviews. They are so informative, and it was actually such a great honor to be able to chat to the actors and the characters that I've spoken to already. If you have not seen my very, very first Highlander interview, that is with Adrian Paul, and that is one of my greatest interviews that I've ever had. It was such a joy, and it was also done around my birthday, which is quite a privilege as well. And if you have not heard the beginning part of every single episode that I launch here, where it says I'm Duncan MacLeod from the Clan MacLeod, and he says that entire speech, that is what Adrian Paul made and created for me as part of his interview opening and his intro. And it was so amazing to get that, because I remember lying in bed one day and after the interview, a little bit out of my mind, because it's like, oh my goodness, I actually had a chance to speak to Duncan MacLeod and Adrian Paul. It was quite a fantastic moment, and I forgot to ask him to do his intro, because every actor that I deal with and I interview, I ask them to do a little bit of an intro, and I forgot to ask him. So I quickly sent him a message, and a couple minutes later, maybe about half an hour, maybe an hour later, I get this message coming back with two versions of that. So I've got both, and I'm going to be playing both, and I might even put it out to you guys and ask you which ones you prefer. But for now, that's my favorite one, and I've been using that in every single episode when it comes to Highlander. So hope that you enjoy those.